We will never know how many people died in the First World War because the records aren't complete, particularly on the Eastern Front. But an estimate which most historians accept is that some 9 million men died in war itself. Probably twice as many, say 18 million, perhaps more, were wounded in the war, often very badly, and bore the scars for the rest of their lives. And so it was a war that was tremendously costly. And if you think of it in terms of proportion, the French lost a quarter of all their men of military age. The Serbs lost even more. I mean, these are horrific figures, figures that I think we have trouble understanding. And almost everyone in European society after the war would have had someone killed in the family, known someone who was killed. It was very, very unusual for families to escape. In some cases, families lost all their male members. The First World War affected our world and the world of the 20th century in a number of ways. By leading to a revolution in Russia, it introduced a new form of government and political ideology into the world, communism. You also had the increased acceleration of the rise of the United States. The United States was already becoming a world power before 1914, but what the First World War does is vastly increase its industrial capacity. It makes it the center of world finance. New York becomes the place where you go to if you want to borrow money. What the war also does is hasten the internal problems of the European empires and hastens their disappearance. And so the First World War sets in train a number of things whose consequences we're still living with.
Now the world was truly ready for peace. Certainly the veteran of that war hoped he had brought about a world that would be free of war forever after. The hope for peace, however, was soon to be doomed by events taking place in other parts of the world.
The First World War releases all the demons of that human beings are capable of living under the aegis of, racism, ultra-nationalism, the hatred between nations, intolerance, and so on, political ultra-violence, ideological extremism. All that is greatly augmented by the First World War. The Second World War then shows us the consequences of this, the Gulag, the concentration camps, Auschwitz. You could say that these two wars, especially the Second World War, in a sense, by pushing the argument of the nation state to a destruction, they actually demonstrate that human beings do need transnational affiliative networks. And what you see in Europe after 1945 is the emergence of Christian democracy as a force, a democratic form of Catholic and Protestant Christian activism, which plays an incredibly important role in shaping what we now call the European Union, shaping the Europe of the post-war era.